Hi, this is John Allen, the editor of Crux. Welcome to another occasional special video feature on the Crux YouTube page. In these features, we try to bring you a sampling of movers and shakers and interesting personalities from across the highways and byways of the Catholic world. And today we are thrilled to be joined by a friend of the church in the States for sure, a friend of everybody who cares about the Catholic Church in the States. We have with us Ken Balbuena, who is the Director of Pilgrimage and Visitor Services at the St. John Paul II National Shrine in Washington, D.C. Ken, how are you this morning?
Hi, good morning, John. I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well also.
In the Pope Francis era, the news business is always a mile a minute. We're always busy as all heck. But the opposite of busy in my line of work, Ken, is unemployed. So busy is good.
Indeed. Well, we're grateful for this opportunity and welcome some of the comments below from all of your YouTube videos visitors, and we'll be happy to address any comments below as best I can.
Good. So, Ken, you've been in this gig for about a year, and you've got a background in tourism and that kind of thing. But prior to that, you were working for the Diocese of Arlington, so you also have a deep Catholic background. How did you get started at the intersection between sort of faith and tourism and pilgrimage and that kind of thing?
Well, I'll tell you, John, a lot of my career has been very fortunate. I want to call it divine intervention, where God's led me in very specific ways, and it's all been for a good purpose. As far as how I came about coming to the shrine here, I was just something on a whim told me to go to the Knights of Columbus website, and I figured, well, there's got to be some other positions besides just being a life insurance agent, and kind of curious what they are. Besides, all the jobs are going to be up in New Haven, Connecticut, where the Knights of Columbus is headquartered. But I was very surprised when I saw that there were positions open in Washington, D.C. And then when I saw that what this job had to offer, and I saw what skills they were looking for, they're looking for management, they're looking for Catholic experience, and they were looking for someone who had experience with marketing, and then tourism. Tourism was kind of the one odd thing that didn't seem to quite fit. But for me, I happen to have all those backgrounds. And so my wife always says that I needed to figure out what I wanted to do when I grow up because I had so many different diverse things in my background, but it all seemed to align for this. And I'd say the biggest key and kicker for me that led me to accept the position here at the shrine more than a year ago was, all the readings at Mass were talking to me about listening to what God wants. And then I happened to find during a Knights of Columbus pancake breakfast at my parish in Springfield, Virginia, St. Bernadette's, that the altar used at my church every single day is the same altar that St. John Paul II used at his October 7th, 1979 Mass on the National Mall with the United States Capitol in the background and right in front of the Smithsonian Castle. So when I found that out, I was like, all right, this is where I'm supposed to be, and I accepted the position.
Well, as you may know, Ken, the Knights of Columbus are also a primary sponsor of Crux. So we are completely convinced they've got a keen eye for talent, and you are obviously living proof of that.
Oh, well, thank you. I greatly appreciate that. And we're great to be an active ministry of the Knights of Columbus.
So, sometimes the St. John Paul II National Shrine in Washington seems to be something of a hidden gem of the Catholic Church in the United States. Can you tell us something about it and its connection to the Knights?
Absolutely. So the Knights of Columbus purchased an existing facility in 2011, and they retrofitted it to be exclusively about the life and teachings of St. John Paul II. And so we look at a lot of his different teachings, like Redemptor Hominis, for example, and that was his very first encyclical, and that is the theme of our church. We also have a Luminous Mysteries Chapel inside. Both of them feature floor-to-ceiling mosaics, and they talk about his teachings and enliven them through these mosaic artwork that was done actually by a person named Father Marco Rupnik, who did a lot of personal work for St. John Paul II. In fact, he did the Redemptor Mater Church in the Vatican. It was the first major work of art done in the Vatican since the Renaissance period. So we've got a lot of beautiful artwork here. We have a 16,000 square foot permanent exhibit on our lower level that features a lot of interactive elements as well as personal artifacts that belong directly to St. John Paul II. So we have a lot of great things here in the physical structure that talk about look backwards and talk about his life and his teachings. But we also have a lot of different special events that we offer that really help pilgrims and visitors learn how to apply his teachings into their daily lives. So it's not just a step backwards, but it's also looking forward to shape the future by focusing on who the individual is and the dignity of the human person and how we can work together through the inspiration of St. John Paul II to change lives.
Now, the JP2 shrine is not the only national shrine in Washington. Are there any misperceptions about your shrine that you want to clear up?
Well, we are half a mile down the road from the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception. So a big misconception that we have from a lot of people who hear about us is that they think that we are the same as the Basilica, which is not true. While we have two national shrines half a mile down the road from each other, we are very different but complement each other very well. And so a lot of visitors who come to the Basilica come visit us. A lot of people who visit us then go to the Basilica. But as far as the people who are not necessarily familiar with us, they often have that misperception that we are the Basilica. And another misperception is that the existing facility that the Knights purchased in 2011 was the Pope John Paul II Cultural Center. So there are people who visited the Cultural Center but have not been back since 2011. And so they think we have a lot of the same things. We think we have a lot of the same visitors, but we're actually very, very different. The Cultural Center focused very broadly on the Catholic faith, whereas we are exclusively about preserving the life and legacy of St. John Paul II. So we're a little bit more focused than what the mission of the Cultural Center was. And again, we have these various special events that help you to apply his teachings to your daily lives. So I'd say the two biggest misperceptions: we're not the Basilica and we're not the Cultural Center.
All right, well, let's talk about what you are instead of what you're not. I was checking out your site, which is phenomenal. It's jp2shrine.org, folks. So if you haven't been on it yet, do it. jp2shrine.org. One of the things, Ken, I found very interesting is that you have sisters from the Congregation of Our Lady of Mercy serving at the shrine. Can you talk about what the connection there is and what they do?
Sure. Well, the sisters came down from Boston, is where their convent is, and we have three sisters here. We had two originally, and then we've grown and had a third sister. So, Sister Gaudia, Sister Veritas, and Sister Donata are our three sisters that are here. So, obviously, Divine Mercy was very important to St. John Paul II. He instituted it as part of the liturgical calendar, and actually even died on the eve, the vigil of Divine Mercy. So it was very important to him to spread this message of divine mercy in St. Faustina. And so we have the sisters from the same order as St. Faustina. They are here pretty much every single day at the shrine, and they have some very special things that they do. Among those things that they do is every 3 p.m. they lead the Divine Mercy Chaplet. They have a reflection that's based off of St. Faustina's diary, and they also will lead the congregation in prayers for that. They also, every 22nd of the month, we have what's called Evenings with the Merciful Jesus. And so that's very much geared towards young adults. So we have a lot of people who come over from Catholic University or from Georgetown University, or just young people in general who heard about this event. They come here every single 22nd of every month, except for November, because November 22nd is going to be Thanksgiving. So they're moving it just this 1 month to November 21st. But with this particular event, we have a lot of people will just learn about, divine mercy. So many of them may not be familiar with it, but the sisters are always having a great event there. And they also hold days of recollection in both Advent as well as Lent. So they're always a good complement to a lot of the work that we do here, and they're very, very popular. We have a lot of school groups who will come to visit, and oftentimes the sisters will give some talks, spiritual talks to the groups, either getting ready for confirmation or just telling them in general about divine mercy, and talks about St. John Paul II as well, or St. Faustina.
Well, there's an interesting theological insight there, kid. We just learned today that in the United States, even divine mercy yields to Thanksgiving. So that's something to ponder. But listen, that all sounds fantastic. Beyond all that, what other kinds of events do you have at the shrine?
Well, we have several different events, again, to keep the life and legacy of St. John Paul II active in your daily lives. So among those, we have Domestic Church Day, which is an age-appropriate event that we have where we've got different tracks for parents to learn how to be better parents and how to create a domestic church in your household. And that's essentially church begins at home is sort of the theme that St. John Paul II really promoted. There's tracks that are also available for teens and for children, children's catechesis program. So that is a half-day retreat that we offer quarterly. We also have events for both men and women. For the men, we have retreats that are geared. The first retreat we had for this was called Stronger, and so we had Bishop Emeritus Paul Laverty of the Diocese of Arlington, and we also had Captain McInerney, who's teaches at the U.S. Naval Academy. They came and we were talking about leadership and how to be good, strong men, and to really shape your family. So it's another aspect of like the domestic church, but it's geared more towards exclusively men. For the women, we have tea and rosary, or mother. It's an opportunity for women to get together, to hear a speaker, and to be able to pray a rosary together. And so you have issues that sometimes challenge women that are unique to them. And so we want to have some ministry that works on building their spirituality. We also have a great program. It's called Visit of the Saints. It started with the Visit of St. Nicholas, and we've since had Visit of St. Nicholas, Visit of St. Patrick, Visit of St. Elizabeth Ann Seton, and we had Visit of All Saints. And we're looking to bring back St. Nicholas again because, being that we have some heavenly intervention with St. John Paul II, we also have some pull up in heaven with St. Patrick and St. Elizabeth Ann Seton, and of course now St. Nicholas, where they happen to come and visit and interact with kids and just remind them that Christmas is not always about presents, or St. Patrick's Day is not always about getting candy and shamrocks and things like that, but it's really about these lives that the saints live. And so we have hundreds of kids that will learn about these wonderful saints and how they can be role models for these children and how they can keep their spirit alive by just bringing back a sense of Christianity and Catholicism into these holidays that in many cases have become more secular in society.
We'd love to keep talking to you all day, but unfortunately we are almost out of time. But before we let you go, do you have something special coming up for Advent or Christmas?
We do. We have a lot of great things coming up. Every year we have an Advent and Carols, which is around Gaudete Sunday, so right towards the end of Advent. We'll be having a beautiful choir coming here to sing different Advent songs. We have a special Advent Day of Recollection that the Sisters of the Congregation of Our Lady of Mercy will be leading. We, of course, have the Visit of St. Nicholas. It's going to be December 8th coming up. And then on December 1st, we have our Tea and Rosary program. So a lot of the programs that I had mentioned that we offer here at the Shrine, we happen to be having them here in December coming up to celebrate Christmas. We are open 365 days a year, so you can always come and visit us 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we do promote a lot of our events on our website, jp2shrine.org. But we also have a lot greater details on our social media. So be sure to follow us on social media at jp2shrine. And that's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. And as of 2 days ago, we are now on Snapchat. So we're always trying to reach our young people and reach people who love the Shrine in many different ways on social media in which they use them. So we're very excited to be able to have now Snapchat as one of our featured things. And we do have a lot of different events that we promote throughout the year on our social media pages. We were very blessed. I forgot to mention this. We were very blessed this past August that we featured the World Youth Day Cross and Icon. So it's not just little events that we have here and there. We have some major events. And for those not familiar about the World Youth Day Cross and Icon, it's pretty much like the Olympic torch of World Youth Day. So it's this cross and icon symbols that get passed around the entire country. And we were very fortunate to be able to host it here at the Shrine. It was one of 5 stops in the United States, and it was the first organized trip of these icons since 1993 when it came to in preparation for Denver's World Youth Day.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we at Crux are having a planning meeting just today to talk about our coverage plans for World Youth Day coming up in January in Panama. We will, of course, be bringing you full coverage. So, Ken Balbuena of the St. John Paul II National Shrine in Washington, thank you so much for your time today. Blessings for the holidays, and keep up the great work you all at the shrine are doing, will you?
Great. Thank you so much, John. I really appreciate the opportunity and hope everybody visits us at JP2 shrine.org and follow us on social media.
So you heard him. It's the jp2shrine.org. Check it out. This has been a special video feature on Crux. Keep checking our YouTube page for these video features once in a while. I am John Allen, the editor and publisher of Crux, and until the next time, have a fantastic and blessed holiday season.